What's up, guys? I'm going to do a little tutorial on how I did the wiring for my Monday motorbike, Enza. I'm going to start off with how I did the blinkers, right? Because that's going to be the more complicated one. The headlight's a little complicated too, but I think the blinkers it's probably the same as headlight, but I'll start with the blinkers. Or let me start screen recording. I don't even think. Shit, I'm not even screen recording. Give me 1 second. Okay, I just checked the recording thing. It's working right now. Okay, so let's continue. Like I said, these are your indicators. This is your switch. What I did is I drew it here because it kind of more simplifies it. What else I have? The power bank is here. Let me give you a picture of the power bank, the actual one that I bought from Amazon. So this is what I have. This is what I bought. It's a 12-volt lithium-ion battery. It has a 18650 battery cell. These are supposed to be the ones that are used apparently on Teslas. I don't know if that's true. They say they are high-quality Samsung. I don't know about that either. But you know what? They last a long time. I have been using it for a couple of days. I haven't charged mine yet. So, you know, it has 5 lights. I'm down to like 3 lights right now. So it's pretty good. Anyway, let's move on from that. So this represents the power bank. From here, you're getting 2 wires out of it, right? You're getting a negative wire and you're getting a positive wire. The positive wire always has a white line, so just be mindful of that. So that's your positive. From the switch, you're getting 3 wires. You're getting a blue, an orange one, and a white one, or like an off-gray white one. From your left front, you're getting a yellow line, white and black. From the rear, you're getting a yellow, you're getting a red, and you're getting a black one. And same thing here for your right front, yellow, white, black. For your rear one, you're getting yellow, red, black. These are kind of color coded, if you notice it, right? They're black, so that kind of indicates they're negative. And these are the lights that will stay on. They're like your daytime running. As soon as you give it power, these will stay on. They will stay. The front ones, like I said, the front one stays white, the rear one stays red. So let's get into how I have this wired up. Let's start with the ground. So I'll turn on the ground layer in Photoshop. You're going from your negative line from your power bank, and you're connecting all the black negatives to this line, right? Coming from the front and the rear. So you have this setup right here. Now let's see how I did the positive wire. So it's coming from your positive line from your power bank. This one, you're gonna have to connect it to the switch. So the gray wire connects to the positive. Then the white wire from your top left connects to the positive. The red wire connects to the positive from the rear, and vice versa. Same thing over here, right? Your red is connecting to the positive, your white is connecting to the positive. And let me take this layer off. So this is your positive setup. So right now we have ground and we have positive. I like Photoshop because I can turn off these layers and show you guys without confusing you guys with, like something like that. Let's see how I did the indicator. Let's start with the left indicator first. So your orange wire will connect to your left-hand side indicators, right? So you take the wire from here, you connect it. You connect the left-hand side, front and rear, to this connection. And that's it. This line right here is nothing. You could just trim it off from here, right? So I'm just putting the indicator here. And let's see how I did the right-hand side. So from the light blue color, you're going to connect that together and connect it to the right front, right rear. And I put a little picture here that it tells you blank. So if I did, kind of shows you that visually, right? And then it shows you left. So if you had everything on, that's how it would look like, right? I can use an arrow. Like if I click on the left hand side, here's the arrow it comes on, so that which indicates that you actually shifted your switch to left hand side, which is this switch right here. So this would be like, you see how this position is left? That's pretty much all it does. So that's the simplest way to do it. And this is just one part, because the next one I'm going to do is, let's move on to headlights. Let's try, let me see if I have the headlight one open. So here's the diagram for the headlight that I have, right? This is the headlight that I bought from Amazon. This is the wire setup they have. This is how it comes. I just shifted it over here because so I could actually connect these better when I do the line. Okay, so let me give you some more detail. This is the switch, right? So this switch itself doesn't have on-off switch. It just has a high beam and a low beam. I'm actually using low beam as off. This is why this switch is here. We'll get into that a little bit later. Let's look at the wires, right? Let's look at the wires. Here's the power bank, the same one that I use for the indicator. You have your positive and your negative. So let's start with the ground wires, how I have the ground wires set up. It's actually pretty simple. If you looked at this, if this is your top portion, it's going to be on your right hand side, right? So you connect that to your ground wire right here, and that's it for ground. And now let's look at the positive. Here's the positive. So you have the wire, the blue wire that's coming, blue wire with the line in it. That's coming from your switch, and then it's connecting to your DRL, daytime running light, right? And then it's going back to your positive out wire. So that's it for that, right? So you have the light blue wire with the line in it. It's connecting to your DRL, and then it's connecting to the positive portion. So we'll take a look at that, right? So we have positive now. And I put a little light there, so if you notice it, because as soon as you give this portion power, the daytime running will come on, right? And that's a green wire. Now, my setup is a little unique. What I ended up doing is, I didn't want the DLR light to stay white when my headlight was on. I actually wanted it to be orange. And the whole color contrast really made it look good. So if you looked at my last video, when I did the walk around the bike, you'll see it looks kind of unique. A lot of people, you could actually use this as a blinker. So if you wanted to trigger this on and off with a blinker, you could do that. You're gonna need a relay. They give you a relay. The thing is, I didn't have the time to configure the relay, and the speed settings in the relay didn't work very well for me. So I skipped that entirely. So let's go into the positive setup. So I did the positive already. So this is your positive. This is your negative. Let's look at low beam. Remember, I'm not using high beam because this switch doesn't have high beam option. Because I'm using high beam. I mean, it has high beam option, but I'm using one of those options as off setting. So it's only triggering off and low beam. So let's see. Did I confuse you guys? Because I confused the hell out of myself. Anyway, so how do I have the lights to come on? So assuming this switch is up, right? And now the solid blue wire will connect to the amber light, which is, their writing here is called turn signal, but I'm calling it amber, right? So it'll trigger this light, the DLR white light, to turn yellow, right? And then it will also trigger the low beams to come on. So the low beams, if you notice it right here, it says it's low beam, right? So that's pretty much it. Once these are connected, once you flip this switch up, right? Because look, I flipped this switch up. I put an up arrow here for an indication. That means that gave power to this plug, gave power to this plug. Now, what it will look like is, if you had everything wired properly, it will look like that. I'll turn it off and on a couple of times just so you guys can see. Now, if I took the low beam off, so I have this trigger, like this portion is triggered down, that means only the daytime running lights are working, right? And that's it. You have your daytime running lights are working. And this how somehow this bridges into the indicator as well. So your indicator will be lit white. So just look at this wire, and if you go back to, if you look at the other one, you're connecting from this one power source anyway. So that's how you have the ground and the positive on, and then you have your low beam on by just triggering it up. And once the low beam is on, the amber light gets power, so it turns amber and your low beams are turned on. So let's take that off. Now, how do I control high beam, right? So the high beam, I have an additional switch that I bought. This is just for the high beam. It's pretty simple to set up. So let's just turn on the high beam wiring setup. Very simple. So your high beam is this one right here, the top. And I'm showing it right here again. So your high beam connects to, two wires come out of this, a blue one and a white one. So you connect this wire to this portion, and then the white wire you connect to your positive outlet. So every time that triggers, right? Let me see if I can trigger that. As soon as this is triggered, your low beam comes on. Your high beam comes on. Okay. Now, assuming that you have your low beam on, and then you trigger this button again, and you trigger the high beam, that's our beam. Hopefully that made some sense to you guys. All right. So that's pretty much it for that. Let's move on to the horn, right? Let's get into how I set up the horn. So this is your switch, right? We're working with the same switch still, same power bank. This is the horn, right? It comes with the switch when you purchase it. It was included in the same box. So this is your push button horn, right? So this is not like it's not a trigger, it's not a on-off switch, it's a push button. So it's simple. What this switch really does is it bridges the positive outlet, the positive wires. That's all that switch does. So it's actually pretty simple if you think of it, if you kind of step back. So let's see how I have this set up. Your switch comes with two additional wires. One is green and one is light green. You take one of the green and you run it directly to one of the connection on the horn, right? And then you take the lighter green in this example, you connect that wire to the positive. So what it does is it just bridges these two together, right? When you press on it, they bridge. So what it does is it takes this and it just connects it to this other wire, and then it makes a 360 rotation, so you get power, right? And then you for the ground is actually more simple. The ground, you just take the ground wire, and then you just run it to the ground line that's coming from your bank. That's it. That is pretty much it. This is probably the more simpler one. I know this is sounds complicated. It can be. This is why I kind of made this, because if I didn't have this, I couldn't, because I would always forget. But it gets tricky a little bit. But hopefully this video helps someone. Hopefully you guys have some patience and just go through what I'm saying and kind of look at it once or twice. So I'm gonna end the video right here for that. Alright guys, now I gotta edit all of this, so let's see how it turns out. Bye.